It's the 10ish podcast. We're here to cover a top 10 list. Top 10-ish list.
That's what we do. It's day in, day out around here. Just lists.
I'm Brandon.
No, you're not. You're Nick. I'm Brandon.
Oh,
let me tell you.
Sorry, I was... yeah.
As we're recording this is my first cup of coffee I've had.
Uh-huh.
I'm down to the last coffee in the house. I'm using my spare coffee, and it is a caffeine boost blend made by Maxwell House.
Okay.
It tastes...
I hope this turns interesting soon.
Yeah, it tastes like it was filtered through a hobo's pants.
Whoa. Wow.
But...
Wow. Shots fired at Maxwell House.
This is my junior varsity coffee. I usually don't call this one up from the bench, but I did today because I'm out of good coffee and because this has an extra jolt. And I don't know what you've got on deck. Each week, one of us, this week it's Nick, brings us a top 10-ish list, and the other one of us tries to guess it.
Mm-hmm.
And I am ready. I just have a feeling whatever you're going to bring is going to get me real excited. Well, the Maxwell House extra boost is me rising to the occasion.
Okay, well, Brandon, I'm going to start today by asking you a very simple question. Actually, it's not simple, but I'll ask it. If you had to guess how you will meet your demise, what would you say is the most likely?
Not sure about the manner, but I know I'll be screaming.
Would you choke on the hot dog, or would you have a heart-related disease from a lifetime of eating hot dogs?
I'll probably die towards the end of this cup of shitty coffee. If I make it towards the end. These beans are burned.
Oh, goddamn. Don't get started on the burnt beans bullshit again.
They do have really burned beans at Maxwell House, it seems like. Realistically, how do I expect to die? In my mind, I would like it to be on my deathbed. When you get old, you buy a special bed.
Yep.
Specifically for death. And when you feel bad, you go lay down in it.
And you just slowly and peacefully and painlessly die.
Well, sometimes if you lay down it and you get better, you got to get up. But if you lay down in it and everything goes right, I'll be laying back in there with one of my sons holding each one of my hands tightly and their hearts full of love. As I close my eyes and gently drift,
oh man,
my soul leaves my body. I look back on myself from the corner of the room. I wonder why they haven't covered me up yet. And then I float to heaven and I meet Jesus.
Do you think your soul would jerk off more or less than your physical body does?
Probably doesn't have that corporeal itch.
Well, yeah.
So yeah, I expect to die on my deathbed surrounded by loved ones, not screaming in the flaming wreckage of my car.
Okay. Interesting. I wonder if Jesus would let you in when you got to heaven. That's a discussion for another day. Today, we're talking about the leading causes of death worldwide.
Okay. The deadliest diseases?
No.
Or no, causes of death.
Leading causes of death, which includes diseases and not diseases.
Okay.
This is taken from a number of sources, primarily the World Health Organization. I also pulled some stats from Healthline, ProClinical, and, of course, our friends at the CDC, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention here in America. God bless America. I pulled from all that to find a list of the leading causes of death. These are the things that cause the death of living humans while they're living before they die.
They were living before they died.
Yeah. So this includes anything and everything, and this is on the medical examiner's report or the coroner's report, whatever you want to call it. This is what would be listed on the piece of paper on the death certificate for the cause of death.
Is Misadventure on the list?
No, but why don't we do that? Why don't you tell me some things that are probably safe bets for not on the list?
Well, death by misadventure is one that is... I got to look it up because I don't exactly know what death by misadventure means, but it's something along the lines of you were doing something silly you shouldn't have been doing. Oh, so death by misadventure could also be a drug overdose if you took the drug voluntarily.
This is boring.
So I guess what I'm saying is if you put something in your butt so big that it killed you,
whoa,
that would be...
That took a turn.
Death by misadventure. That's what I assume a misadventure is like probably someone put something up their butt. It was a misadventure.
Is enema, that's where they blast water up there, right?
An enema?
Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe like a soapy liquid.
Okay, but there's water involved.
Yeah.
How would an enema change if we re-enter the world? We're all water.
Was peanut butter?
So for those new to the show, Brandon loves it when we talk about this alternate universe where all water is now peanut butter. So then an enema would then be a peanut butter enema.
It's not going to clean you out. It's just going to fill you up.
Well, if the peanut butter is cleaner than whatever's in there, then one could argue that by definition, you're now cleaner.
I think, no, and an enema is meant to declutter the ass.
Well,
there's no more clutter than peanut butter.
Disagree. Respectfully disagree. This is not the last time we'll talk about peanut butter today, believe it or not. But do you have anything else that are not in the top 10?
Falling off of a cliff, having a boulder hit you in the head.
Wow.
Wearing roller skates and having a rocket on your back, but the rocket explodes instead of makes you go fast.
Or the rocket goes the wrong way and it shoots you off a cliff.
Shoots you off the cliff. Running into a black spot painted on the side of a cliff that you thought was a tunnel.
Okay.
So all those things that I said were Wile E. Coyote ways of dying, and I don't think any of those are on the list.
It's a bold stance to take, but turns out you got lucky here because you are right. Why don't we get into it? Because we got plenty to talk about. Again, this is the top 10 worldwide causes of death. Give me a guess.
Is it a specific disease, or should I say infectious disease?
It's more specific than that.
Malaria.
No, but malaria is in the top 10 when looking specifically at low-income countries.
Right.
But globally, it's not in the top 10.
Okay.
Tell the folks at home what malaria is, Brandy.
I think a mosquito gives it to you and you bleed out of your eyes. Or you sweat a lot. I don't know what malaria is. I don't intend on finding out.
Okay.
In fact, I think we've probably covered it before and I explained what malaria is, but then...
I think we did in the Deadliest Animals episode because of mosquitoes.
Mosquito is the world's deadliest animal.
Don't fucking spoiler, Jesus.
Well, actually, that's wrong.
Yeah, Brandon was...
That's right.
Yeah.
How about the big C?
Cancer.
Cancer. Is cancer in the top 10? Show me cancer! That is not what you want to say to your doctor when they're coming back from doing a biopsy.
Cancer is not on the top 10 as a whole, but there is a specific form of cancer that is in the top 10.
Ooh. Is it non-Hodgkin's lymphoma?
No, but the top 10 in middle to high income countries includes colon and rectum cancers.
Yep.
Liver cancer and breast cancer.
It's because of all
the fine wine and fine dining you can do.
All the snails we're eating.
Yep. We're eating. Yeah. Us too. We're included in that. But those three cancers, none of them are in the top 10 worldwide.
Diseases of the dick.
That's it. Diseases that we can just close up shop here. You got all top 10 with that. Think about, there's a movie coming out soon that you and I are both very excited about. Can you think about what that movie is?
The Rise of Skywalker?
No, one of us is excited about that.
Another James Bond movie?
Okay, it's El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie.
El Camino, right.
What was the affliction of the main character of Breaking Bad?
Lung cancer. Diseases of the lung.
Trachea, bronchus, and lung cancers is number 5 in the top 10.
Oh, it's because we're smoking and breathing bad stuff all over the world.
All over the world, you're doing it. Trachea, bronchus, and lung cancers kills 1.7 million people on average per year. This accounts for 3% of deaths worldwide. Now think about this. This is number 5 in the top 10 leading causes of death, and it's only 3% of all deaths. So what does that tell you about the first few above this?
I got some guesses, but I know we're talking about esophageal, or not esophageal.
God damn, just stop.
Cancers. Cancers from your mouth to your lungs.
And lung cancer is a particularly aggressive and serious form of cancer that is very common in smokers, accounting for 85% of cases. Sorry to all the smokers out there. Countries such as Spain and Hungary are highly affected by the disease, and in China...
Hungary? Like a guy named Gary with a big old dick? Hungary.
I've been corrected before when I said Hungary.
It's not Hungary.
I think it is.
All right, to the internet we go.
I'm going to listen to the Wikipedia person.
Hungary.
Ah, fuck.
You're toast.
All right, I'll just edit this all out so I don't look dumb.
No, don't. Please. I have to have my moment.
Countries such as Spain and Hungary.
You mean Hungary?
Hungary. How do you say it?
Gary is packing heat downstairs. Let me tell you, Hungary, that's what we used to call him in high school.
Okay. Those countries and China.
China?
China. Like for China,
Uh-huh.
it is the most common type of cancer there. Okay, so for each of these things in the top 10, if we ever get through them without you bullshitting around and grab-assing like you've been doing, for each of them I have the good news and the bad news.
Okay.
We're going to do the bad news first. The bad news is that in developing countries, researchers project an 81 to 100% increase in respiratory cancers due to pollution and smoking.
Yeah.
Solid fuel emissions account for 17% of lung cancer deaths in men and 22% in women. And lastly, these diseases are on the rise. There was over 500,000 increase over the last 15 years.
Yeah, because these fuckers are vaping.
Yeah. I love how we were able to get vaping banned like overnight, but fucking assault rifles we can't do that. It's just too much work.
Yeah, what about all those people who need, who, like, when the government comes to take their vapes, they're going to have to blow some big-ass clouds of smoke at them if they want to keep them. From my cold, dead lips.
We don't get political here on the Tennis Podcast. Okay, so there is no good news on this one, just bad news. But I do have risk factors and prevention tips. Ready? Because, I mean, that's what the people come to the Tennis Podcast for. It's health, safety tips. Trachea, bronchus, and lung cancers can affect anyone, but they're most likely to affect those who have a history of smoking or tobacco use. Other risk factors for these cancers include family history and exposure to environmental factors such as diesel fumes. Brandon, are you around a lot of diesel fumes?
Only when I eat Taco Bell.
We're
farts. It's farts.
Yeah, no, I got it. I was going to ignore it because it's so, yeah.
It's methane. Methane is farts, though.
We're around diesel fumes a lot because we have so many badass truck drivers with huge dicks driving their big pickups around that need diesel fuel.
You keep talking about Hungary.
Aside from avoiding fumes, all kinds of fumes, and tobacco products, it isn't known if there's anything else that can be done to prevent lung cancers. However, early detection can improve your outlook.
Yeah, I guess go get your fucking lungs checked out.
Wouldn't hurt.
How about complications from obesity?
You're going to need to be more specific.
Having a great big fat butt.
Whoa.
I don't know, heart attack.
There's a couple diseases on here related to that could be brought on by obesity.
Show me heart disease. By the way, this shitty coffee is working.
Heart disease, what number do you think it is?
2.
1!
Oh.
Holy shit, you are so dumb. Heart disease accounts for about just under 16% of all deaths worldwide come from your heart. Your heart, if you follow your heart, it can lead you to love, lust, adventure, but it can also lead you to death. 8.8 million people die from heart disease every year. Heart disease is caused by a buildup of fatty deposits on the wall of your arteries, usually attributed to lifestyle choices or other conditions such as high blood pressure or diabetes or having a big old butt. This disease is deadly as the patient's arteries become narrowed, restricting blood and oxygen flow to the heart, potentially leading to a fatal heart attack.
Yeah.
Do you want the good news or the bad news first, Brandy?
I think I already know the bad news. That's how I die.
The bad news is that Brandon will die from this within the next 6 months. It's either going to be inside the Atlanta airport or in a car to and from the Atlanta airport.
Get me back there before I go.
Heart disease has risen nearly 3 million in the death toll just the last 15 years. By far, in all caps, by far, the largest jump over the last 15 years on this list. And also bad news, this is from hashtag Nick's Notes. Quote, good, yummy, delicious food is a risk factor, followed by 3 sad face emojis.
Wait, that was your note that is just bad?
My note is that all the great food that you love makes you die, and all the bad food that you don't like is good for you.
Cheese will kill you.
Cheese, donuts, hot dogs, pizza, hamburgers, french fries, Chinese food, ice cream, chips, cookies, crackers, cake, steaks, pork rinds, Twinkies, zebra cakes, ringdings.
Is it?
Ice cream.
Are you looking at your
ice cream sandwiches, candy,
Is this spread out before you right now?
Muffins, waffles, pancakes, French toast, bacon, sausage,
French fries,
too many eggs,
cheese fries, bacon cheese fries,
chili cheese dog, hot dog, corn dog, the cheese stick at the fair. What's that called?
pizza dog,
Pizza dog, fried cheese, fried Oreos, fair food in general,
cereal,
too much cereal, lard, mayonnaise,
any restaurant outside of your home,
beef jerky, Slim Jims. Those all cause heart disease. But the stuff that doesn't cause heart disease is fucking like asparagus and shit.
looking at ice cream.
The good news is that although it's still the leading cause of death in the world, mortality rates have declined in many European countries and in the United States because God bless America. This may be due to better public health education, access to healthcare, and forms of prevention. Brandon, name me a few specific risk factors for heart disease. Besides all the eating.
Risk factors for heart disease. Obesity.
Obesity.
Yeah.
Diabetes.
Diabetes.
Family history. Smoking. High cholesterol. High blood pressure.
Being president of the United States.
I think there's a correlation between the orange glow of your skin and your risk for heart disease. So here's how you prevent heart disease. You can not eat all that stuff we just went through. You can also... right?
Yeah.
I'd rather die, right?
Oh, good. You mean no fun.
Exercise regularly. Maintain a healthy weight. Boring. Eating a balanced diet that's low in sodium and high in fruits and vegetables. So all of the top 10 in our last episode, largest fast food chains, just don't eat any of that. Do French fries count as a vegetable? That's a funny #Nick's note. Avoid smoking, drink only in moderation, but to be fair, this article from World Health Organization, that article does not specify what to not drink in moderation. Does it mean drinking
booze?
Could be drinking orange juice in moderation.
You don't hardly ever drink a booze, do you?
I'm not a big boozer.
You don't like a booze. I don't really either.
Yeah, right.
I don't.
Well, don't tell our listeners because now they're nerd alerts going off.
Yeah. Their antenna are going up.
Wait, are you talking about Hungary again? All right, you got number 1, heart disease, number 5, lung and etc. cancers. So what else? We mentioned one of them in passing already, actually.
Animal fight?
Have we mentioned an animal fight?
I've been thinking about it. Malaria?
We said that. It's not in the top 10. Worldwide, it's in the top 10 low-income countries. Some others from the top 10 in low-income countries. I mentioned malaria, HIV and AIDS.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Stop fucking. I mean...
yeah, can't you just hold it?
Preterm birth complications. Birth trauma. So those are sad. We're not going to make fun of those.
Oh, no. Yeah. Yeah, but everybody crack open your birth trauma jokes.
Okay. Give me something here. Okay. Throw out some guesses.
Accidental death.
What kind of accidental death?
There's different types. Drowning.
No.
Accidental shooting.
There is an accident in here.
Is it a specific... car accidents. Automobile.
Road injury, which could include riding a lawnmower on the street and getting run over by a semi, I assume. It's not specific. Road injury is number 10 in the top 10. It has 1.3 million deaths per year, and it is the leading cause of accidental death. Isn't that cute?
And everyone makes fun of smart cars because they're like, well, they're so tiny. You know, I don't want to be in that tiny car and get hit by another big car. Like, but isn't a smart car safer if everyone was in a tiny little sweet smart car and you bumped into each other? Wouldn't it just kind of go like, oink? Like it would just
absolutely
oink. You would just sort of toddle off of each other.
Toddle off.
Riding a car would be fine.
You can't accelerate faster than like 38 miles per hour. So yeah, what's your opinion on automated driving?
Well, we've talked about robot drivers.
You talked about robots as a precursor to dogs driving trucks.
No, dogs are the precursor. Dogs are the step between a man and a robot driving your car.
But I am totally all in on every car in the world being self-driven.
Right.
Because that's a very real possibility in the future.
Yeah.
But
I'm all for it.
Yeah, I know sometimes I hear people say like, I wouldn't trust a fucking robot to get me wherever. But here's the thing. there's going to be less robot error than there is human error.
Yes.
I mean, all the traffic lights can be coordinated with technology, can be synced up with these self-driving cars.
I've never seen a robot driving around and idly scrolling through Facebook on its cell phone while it's driving. But I've seen a lot of humans doing that.
And think about all the shit you can do in your free time. All this time that we have to spend commuting or just driving anywhere, now you can repurpose that time because you're in the car. You can read a book. You can read a book. You can get smarter. You can listen to the Tennis podcast, which you can already do anyway, but you can do it harder.
I saw a lady driving on the highway, like at 70 miles an hour. This is just a few months ago. And when I got up beside her, I saw that she was reading a paperback.
You're fucking kidding me.
She was in the passing lane.
No.
Speed limit 65. She's going about 70. So there wasn't anything strange about the way she was driving. But I was going to exit, and I got into the middle lane, and I was going a little bit faster than her, and I happened to look over, and she was just reading a paperback, just enjoying it, completely absorbed in her paperback.
See, shit like that.
70 miles per hour.
That should not be happening. So, yeah, are there like risks of technology malfunctioning with self-driving cars? Yeah, there's probably a little bit of risk, but there's no way there's more risk than shit like Brandon just said. So, okay, so more on road injury. It's a leading cause of accidental death. Road accidents often lead to death as the impact of a collision can cause severe injuries such as head trauma, brain swelling, hemorrhage, and blood clots, external and or internal bleeding, or a broken neck. They wanted to be very specific. And again, I'm pulling most of these quotes from World Health Organization, Healthline.com, ProClinical.com, and the CDC. It's the leading cause of death among those aged 15 to 30, with 90% of cases occurring in developing countries. And a further 20 to 50 million people a year suffer from vehicular-related injuries, including disability. And bad news for bad boys like you and me, Brandy.
Bad boys?
74% of road injury-related deaths are men and boys.
Yeah, because they drive like buttholes more often. They're popping wheelies and going fast.
Popping wheelies?
Yeah.
How many cars have you seen popped a wheelie on the highway?
That lady who was reading the book popped a wheelie right before she sped away.
Fucking popped a wheelie. The good news is that in the last 30 years, survival rates for road accidents have doubled. This is partly thanks to safer vehicles, and maybe fatter butts providing more cushioning. But also that was in Nick's notes, by the way. But also due to improvements in medical devices for diagnostics, treating wounds, and replacing failed organs. Would you let him put a man-made organ inside you, Brandon?
Like a
synthetic organ.
Like a robotic heart? Like a robot heart?
Yeah.
I think Dick Cheney has a robot heart because it doesn't make a pulse. It just it doesn't pulse. It just like whirs or something.
Yeah. I didn't know they could install that in a lizard person.
Yeah, I'd let him do it.
Yeah, I'd do it. I'd let him do the shit out of it.
You got to let him do it if you want to keep on keeping on.
You know what else we got to let him keep doing is leaving us Apple Podcast reviews. I'm going to read a few. How's that for a transition?
Yeah, please.
We're known for our smooth and seamless transitions here on the Tennis Podcast. And right now, I'm going to read a few reviews that have come in from Apple Podcasts. This first one is from Linda. She says, I guess it could be a he or she says, I'm so glad I gave the show a listen. Actually, let me correct myself. I'm so glad I gave the show a listen! Exclamation point. It's hilarious, informative, and addictive. I definitely suggest hitting that subscribe button. Right now, do it. Brandon, I think that's the first time you've been called addictive before.
I have?
You've been called a dick, but you haven't been called addictive.
Was it directed at me or the show?
The show.
Oh, well, that's not me.
I guess you're right.
It's just our chemistry is addictive. It's a drug.
And I'm glad that they suggested hitting that subscribe button instead of hitting one another. And I think we can all learn something from Linda here, that peace and friendship and subscribing to the Tennis Podcast, all very important components to a healthy, happy life.
Whatever.
This one comes from Ty1807, who says, the conversations between two very clearly close friends. Let that sit for a minute. Two very clearly close friends, as they take the top 10 lists in a very funny and entertaining direction. There's a natural stream of conversation, rebuttals, He just wanted to get the word butt in there, I bet. And laughs. They touch on such a broad spectrum of topics with their list that there's something for everyone.
Who you calling broads?
Why does everyone think we're friends? I mean, do they not know that this is a job? We come on, we do this, we act like we get along reasonably, and then as soon as it's over, we part ways, don't talk again until the next time. What's so hard to understand about that?
We were matched through a podcast matching service.
That's right. Anyway, thanks for leaving those very nice podcast reviews. And if you want yours read on this show,
we love them.
Rate us 5 stars and write a review on Apple Podcasts. Okay, so you got number 1, which is heart disease, number 5, lung cancers, and number 10, road injury.
Trying to think of what I know people have died from.
There's so many. I don't know why you're having trouble with this.
I don't know either. Like, I'm trying to think of people I know who... So, I know people died of cancer, lung stuff, and heart disease.
How many people do you know that died from butt stuff?
I don't know anyone that died from butt stuff unless it's been covered up.
There's been a massive conspiracy in your family.
Mm-hmm.
Butt stuff is in the top 10, believe it or not.
I'm trying to think of what...
I'm being serious. Butt stuff is in here. I mean, it's not called butt stuff, but butt stuff is in the top 10.
Something to do with the butt?
Yeah.
And it's not cancer?
No.
Bowel obstruction?
Diarrheal diseases.
Oh, diarrhea diseases. Yes. Like, you get it from an amoebic... From dysentery. Dysentery.
What is that?
I learned it in Mrs. Doubtfire. It's, you get diarrhea till you die.
That's right. That's what this is. It's number 8. 1.4 million people every year in the world die from...
Shit themselves to death, yeah.
Yep. 2.5% of deaths worldwide. Here's the definition of diarrhea. Diarrhea is when you pass 3 or more loose stools in a day. If your diarrhea lasts more than a few days, your body loses too much water and salt. See, that's why you need more fast food. Well, you need the salt from the French fries. This causes dehydration, which can lead to death. So when you say butt stuff, when you say diarrheal diseases, you're really talking about dehydration. Diarrhea is usually caused by an intestinal virus or bacteria transmitted through contaminated water or food. It's particularly widespread in developing nations with poor sanitary conditions. Butt stuff.
That sounds like the worst way to go.
Wasn't there a really common disease prior to the 1900s? Typhoid, right? Isn't that...
Typhoid? Typhus?
One of them.
I think it is because Typhoid Mary didn't wash her, like purposely was like, I'm not washing my hands.
Typhoid is a bacterial infection that can lead to high fever, diarrhea, and vomiting. It can be fatal. It is caused by
salmonella.
Salmonella, yeah.
Yeah, salmonella poisoning.
Also called enteric fever.
Typhoid Mary is this lady who kept taking a shit on her own hands and then like doing surgery on people.
So her name was Mary Mallon, also known as Typhoid Mary, was an Irish-American cook. She wasn't doing surgery.
She was cooking with shit.
She was the first person in the U.S. identified as a symptomatic carrier of the pathogen associated with typhoid fever. She was presumed to have infected 51 people, 3 of whom died over the course of her career as a cook. So fuck you, Typhoid Mary.
How long was that career?
She died in 1938.
She was forcibly isolated by health authorities. Oh, man.
She admitted that she did not understand the purpose of hand washing because she did not pose a risk. In prison, she was forced to give stool and urine samples. Authorities suggested removing her gallbladder because they believed typhoid bacteria resided there. She was also unwilling to cease working as a cook.
I love this!
Well,
this is me. Do you understand? Shitting on my hands, reaching into raw chicken, and then making food to feed hungry people. That's me. You want me to stop being me?
I mean, I know she was naughty and she did all this stuff and she killed a lot of people, but she did have a hell of an ass. I mean, so that's typhoid fever. But anyway, back to diarrheal diseases. Do you want the good news? Let's do the bad news first. The bad news is that it's the second top cause of death in children younger than 5, which is sad.
Yeah.
About 760,000 children die from diarrheal diseases each year. The good news is that deaths by this disease have fallen nearly 1 million in the last 15 years. So that's good. Risk factors for diarrheal diseases include
being a baby,
getting it on with Typhoid Mary, being a baby, living in an area with poor sanitary conditions, so Brandon, your house might be a hazard area,
Wait, what was that one?
Specifically, your office where you're recording right now, that has poor sanitary conditions.
Oh, yeah, sure.
No access to clean water, no access to clean peanut butter, perhaps. Huh? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you'd have to boil the peanut butter like you boil like lake water to drink it? No.
I don't know what the boiling point of peanut butter is, but it is probably higher than water.
Okay, well, if you have no access to clean water and or peanut butter, you can get diarrheal diseases, malnourishment, and a weakened immune system. And in fact, according to UNICEF, the best method of prevention is practicing good hygiene. Good hand washing techniques can reduce the incidence of diarrheal diseases by 40%.
Oh, good. You mean no fun?
Yep, no fun. We're just a bunch of no fun boys today. That was number 8.
I know. I'm already thinking about the next one because I'm feeling stumped.
That high caffeine coffee's not helping?
No, it has me very vigilant, but it's not making me any smarter.
So what's something else that can happen to you if you get too fat? If you like to eat too much of the bad stuff?
Oh, something with your kidneys?
Kidney is in the top 10 in America. Here's the top 10 in America. Well, here's some of the top 10 that aren't in the regular top 10. Kidney disease, suicide, influenza and pneumonia, cancer, and accidents.
Oh, is influenza one of the worldwide ones?
Nope. Well, let me double check that. Okay, yes, it is. It's lower respiratory infections, number 3.
I knew it.
Yeah, you knew it. Number 3, lower respiratory infections, which includes, so what it says here is lower respiratory infections are the deadliest communicable diseases in the world, which are triggered by viruses and bacteria. These diseases affect the patient's lungs and airways. Examples include influenza, also known as the flu, bronchitis, and pneumonia. So I guess you could say that communicable diseases are triggered by viruses and bacteria the same way conservative right-wing people are triggered by our podcast. Lower respiratory infections account for 5.7% of deaths worldwide. That comes to about 3.2 million people. Bad news is that global flu epidemics and pneumonia are known to cause devastation.
Pneumonia!
And elderly, and I said it's not the first time I've said pneumonia. They cause devastation in elderly and infant populations every year.
Yeah.
In 2015, pneumonia killed 920,000 children under the age of 5, mostly in South Asia and sub-Saharan Africa. So that is bad news.
I should have known that one. That's how my grandfather died earlier this year. His lung just stopped working.
Well, if only you thought about anyone but yourself for more than 2 seconds, you might have remembered.
When you get to a certain age, sometimes something messes up and the doctor's like, yeah, that's the way that thing is now. That's the way that is. The option where, when your lung doesn't inflate anymore, the options are to glue it to the inside of your chest cavity or to staple it to the inside of your chest cavity.
What does that do?
Buys you some time.
But how is stapling it to your chest cavity going to help?
Because it helps keep it inflated.
But doesn't it deflate too?
Kind of, but it needs...
You don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
I don't know. Just take care of your lungs.
Hey, by the way, I still have the Typhoid Mary Wikipedia page up, and I just noticed, guess how old she was when she died?
69.
69. Okay, the good news on lower respiratory infections, that the introduction of vaccines has been incredibly... This is obviously leftist agenda bullshit, but we'll read it anyway.
Yeah.
The introduction of vaccines has been incredibly effective in lowering mortality rates over the past 20 to 30 years, particularly in developing countries. Deaths from this are on the decline, down 200,000 in the last 15 years. So here are risk factors. The flu, poor air quality or frequent exposure to lung irritants, smoking, a weak immune system, crowded childcare settings, asthma, HIV. One of the best preventative measures you can take is to get the flu shot every year and wash your hands.
Oh, shit. I got to do that.
And here's also some advice from World Health Organization. Stay at home and rest until you feel better. Thank you.
Like when the local news comes out with tips every summer to help you stay cool, and they're always like, wear light clothing, wear sunglasses, use sunscreen, drink plenty of water, don't cover yourself in aluminum foil and run in place outside.
I used to agree with you that stuff was all unnecessary to say. And then you hear about kids eating Tide Pods and shit, and you're like, I don't know what people are capable of understanding anymore.
Is that still a thing?
I don't know. It was a thing for a while. All I know is thank God we got rid of the vaping.
How are you supposed to blow a big cloud and impress all the girls if you're not vaping?
That's a good question.
How are kids supposed to meet each other?
What was the... Oh, no, it was that stupid Adam Sandler movie. Never mind.
What?
There's a movie where, like, one of the main characters keeps blowing these impressive smoke rings at, like, weird times, and they're always like, well, how'd you do that? And for some reason, I thought that was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but it's the new Adam Sandler movie on Netflix.
What is the new Adam Sandler movie on Netflix?
Murder mystery. One of his highest rated, critically acclaimed.
And you watched it?
Yeah, well, why the hell not?
Did you watch it by yourself?
No.
With your wife?
Your mom.
Did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it for what it was. Do I need to see it ever again? No.
Did who you were watching it with enjoy it?
Well, do you want me to crawl into their brain and find out?
Well, did you not discuss it at all?
No, as soon as it was over, we both stood up silently and walked into separate rooms.
You just closed your eyes, did a Microsoft shutdown noise. Bong, bong, bong. All right.
She liked it. Again, it's like, it's an Adam Sandler movie. You know what you're getting going in. It was fun while it lasted, but, you know.
Thankfully ended.
So you got some such obvious heavy hitters here that you were just not even guessing here.
Wait, give me the list so far. What I got so far.
Number 1, heart disease. Number 3, lower respiratory infections. Number 5, trachea, bronchus, and lung cancers. 8, diarrhea diseases. Number 10, road injury. Think about old people. What is the Grim Reaper bringing with him to the old person's room all the time?
A sickle, a scythe, for which to harvest those old farts for his... Well, I don't know why he needs them. For his garden of souls.
Yeah.
How about Alzheimer's?
Okay, yes.
Or dementia?
Yeah, that's on here. That's number 7.
Going cuckoo.
Whoa, come on now. Have some class for once.
Have some sympathy and some taste?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, we're all going to go cuckoo bananas bonkers one day.
1.5 million deaths per year, 2.5% of deaths worldwide. Alzheimer's is a neurodegenerative disease in which patients experience a gradual decrease in cognitive ability, such as memory and speech, caused by a buildup of amyloid proteins. So you got to get those amyloid proteins. I think you can go after a good workout, after a good pump, mix your protein shake together, make sure there's some amyloid proteins in there. Actually, you don't want those because it's caused by a buildup. So extract the amyloid proteins from your protein shakes. Free advice from #NixNotes. Alzheimer's disease is a progressive disease that destroys memory. It sounds like a fucking metal song lyric. Destroys memory and interrupts normal mental functions. These include thinking, reasoning, and typical behavior. This shit's scary.
Yeah, it's bad.
The disease starts off by causing mild memory problems, difficulty recalling information, and slips in recollection. Over time, however, the disease progresses and you may not have memory of large periods of time. Whew. I need a break after that.
I think I already got it.
As soon as you entered your 60s, did you start noticing a decline in your short-term memory?
Not that I noticed.
The bad news on Alzheimer's. Currently, there is no way to prevent or cure Alzheimer's disease. So fun times, good, bad news on Alzheimer's. The good news is that a lot of research is currently being undertaken by several top 10 pharmaceutical companies. That's a fun episode for the future. Top 10 pharmaceutical companies. Those companies are doing a lot of research to understand the causes and if there's a possible cure. Brandon, tell me some risk factors for Alzheimer's.
Risk factors for Alzheimer's. Being old, eating meat.
Okay.
We get mad cow brain.
Family history is a big one.
Family history, getting bonked on the noggin.
Bonked on the noggin, God. You really are on the top of your game today. Unhealthy lifestyle, Down syndrome, previous head trauma, being shut off from a community, or having poor engagement with other people for extended periods of time. So the bad news for you and I is you and I don't talk to anyone outside of each other on this podcast. We shut down like Microsoft, like you said, for the week.
Bing, bong, bong.
So we are in the danger zone here. We're playing a dangerous game. And here's another fun one on the risk factor. Quote, being female is a risk factor for Alzheimer's. So to all of our female listeners out there, sucks to be you. One thing that may be helpful in reducing your risk of the disease is a heart-healthy diet. A diet that's high in fruits and vegetables,
I know.
low in saturated fats from meat and dairy, and high in sources of good fats like nuts, olive, and Chris Farley. That's Alzheimer's, our friends. Alzheimer's, number 7. You need 9, 6, 4, and 2. And
This is tough.
2, I hear you talk about 2 pretty much every conversation I've ever had with you. So I don't know why you're not getting it.
Cholesterol?
No, that would be related to heart disease.
Mm-hmm.
When I misspeak or stumble, you often ask if I'm having a
Seizure.
stroke.
Stroke.
God.
Stroke.
Oh my God.
Stroke me. Stroke me.
Stroke is number 2.
Stroke.
And this isn't talking about the way Brandon strokes.
No, this is talking about the Billy Squier song, The Stroke.
Stroke is number 2, 6.2 million deaths, 11% of deaths worldwide. A stroke occurs when an artery in your brain is blocked or leaks. I don't like the thought of leaking shit in my brain like it's a leaky pipe. The brain is such a fucking fascinating thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know how they say you only use 10% of your brain?
Is that true?
Well,
I know they say
the
it.
stat is something like that.
Yeah.
Does that mean that the other 90% is accessible? Or that 10% is all we need? Or like 10% is all we have access to? You know what I mean?
In the movies, when they use the rest of their brain, they can start lifting stuff with their mind. You become a genius.
0 to 100%. What do you think the odds are that if you could access 100% of your brain, you could lift things with your mind? Or read others' minds? Or
Isn't that what happened in the movie Phenomenon with...
Adam Sandler?
No, what's his ass? He's pretending to not be gay. John Travolta.
I have not seen that.
I saw it a long time ago at the movie theater, and...
By yourself? Wait, were you sitting by yourself?
No, I was a child.
Okay.
This is the movie Phenomenon. Came out in the 90s, starring John Travolta. He was just a simple man. Not a retarded person, but just a normal, simple dude.
Wow.
And he started becoming a genius. He would read a book and remembered everything. And then he could move stuff with his mind and learn languages just by reading, like listening to him one time. Then they found out, or he thought that he had been like zapped by an alien who made his brain better. No, it turns out he had a brain tumor, and the brain tumor let him use 100% of his brain. But then he died.
Does that happen though? Not the 100%, but like when you get a brain tumor, it can sometimes lead to like
Extra superpowers?
side effects of like seeming smarter and shit.
I don't think so. I
don't know anything about this stuff.
I've never... There probably is. You know, there's probably like a 60 Minutes out there from like years ago, or there's like one person who got in a car accident. I know I've heard something about this where someone got in an accident and their brain changed and they were suddenly able to like understand music and compose and play music that they were never able to before.
Did you see the movie Limitless with Bradley Cooper?
No, is that the same concept?
He takes a pill, and the pill lets him access more of his brain. And so it's the same, not the superpower stuff, but everything else you said about John Travolta, where he remembered every word of every book he'd ever read. He could speak languages, stuff like that. It fascinates me. Do you think if dogs could use more of their brain, they could speak or understand humans? Well, they couldn't speak because they don't have a voice box, but...
Right, I was going to say, I don't think their mouth worked like that. But they understand me now without that. He just doesn't care. Yeah. Chewy, don't shit in the house. I know what you mean.
No, he does. He does listen. He shits in the garage.
He dumps in the house, man.
I'm sorry to hear that.
He knows what's up.
Chewy, God bless you. We all support you, Chewy. You can shit wherever you'd like. So more on the stroke, since we're talking about it. Strokes are the leading cause of long-term disabilities as well, because even if you don't die, you can cause other bad side effects. So I mentioned earlier that the stroke happens when your brain gets a blocked artery or a leak.
Yeah.
This causes the oxygen-deprived brain cells to begin dying within minutes. During a stroke, you feel sudden numbness and confusion or have trouble walking and seeing. That's also a side effect of listening to the 10ish podcast, sudden numbness and confusion. Most prevalent in developing countries such as Southeast Asia and the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
Bad news is that it's on the rise. It's risen over 500,000 in the last 15 years. But the good news is that it kills the old people we don't want around anymore. Also, there's been a recent breakthrough in clinical research. This has been seen to lower the risk of stroke and heart attacks in patients. So there's technology now to fight this.
I just want to get to the point in the future where they can upload my brain into a little robotic thing. And then I can just be like, I don't know, kind of like Nixon's head in Futurama.
Mm-hmm.
Or in an episode of Black Mirror. Just upload me to, I don't know, like an action figure or something.
Well, we've talked about this.
Or a robot body.
But why? You don't even have to have a body. You can just exist in this alternate plane.
But I want to be able to crush my enemies.
Okay.
Yeah, upload me into a Terminator body. Like one of the Terminator skeletons. I would have the same personality, but I would just be a sinister chrome skeleton with red glowing eyes who's capable of crushing and killing anyone who stands in his way.
But that's no fun, because then that's just your whole life is crushing and running away from enemies and chasing enemies. There's no, like...
I wouldn't. Trust me, I'm not running away from anybody.
There's no Red Dead Redemption 2 in your Terminator body. You're not...
I could still play that.
You're not going to concerts.
I could probably plug my ass right into it.
No concerts. You can't go to a movie theater without being...
Why can't I?
Because you wouldn't be allowed. They'd be scared of you.
I would put on a fedora and a trench coat and walk right in. That's how Raphael the Ninja Turtle was able to blend in with humans.
Oh my god.
Okay, so I got 3 more.
9, 7, and 4 is what you need. And you're still missing some big ones. Or 9, 6, and 4, sorry.
Right.
Do you need hints?
Hold on. I don't know. I don't work around deadly diseases and misadventure very much.
We're not talking about misadventure. We're talking about an extremely common disease that you know about.
Heart disease, stroke, respiratory infection, lung cancer. There's something right up there with those guys.
All right, I'm just going to give you this one. It's similar to lung. It's a lung disease. This is number...
No, it's... what is it called? Emphysema.
Yes, that's a type of this. Number 4 is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or COPD for short. This includes chronic bronchitis and emphysema. This kills 3.1 million people every year. It has 5.6% of deaths worldwide, and COPD is a long-term progressive lung disease that makes breathing difficult. In 2004, about 64 million people around the world are living with COPD. That's a lot. COPD. Risk factors include smoking or secondhand smoke, lung irritants like chemical and other kinds of fumes,
diesel fumes,
family history of respiratory infections as a child. There's no cure, but its progression can be slowed with medication.
I guess trying to rescue people at ground zero from September 11th is a big risk factor for COPD.
You know, this is not COPD related, but you just reminded me. I read a stat recently. It was... You know, that show Chernobyl came out, Emmy-winning show, Chernobyl, miniseries. Did you watch that?
Not yet.
It's good. Anyway, there was a stat about Chernobyl that because there's these people that they had to have a team of volunteers that went onto the most radioactive part of Chernobyl to do something. I don't remember, but to limit the radiation exposure, they only let each volunteer have like I think 30 to 60 seconds each, and they worked in shifts.
Right.
30 to 60 seconds and then they're out. And in those 30 to 60 seconds, they got a lifetime of x-rays in that 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Shit's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's bad. Okay, so let me think.
You just need, 6 and 9. 6 is a big one. You need to get this.
Tell me someone famous. Oh, overdose.
No.
Tell me someone who has died from this.
Well, there's someone in a commercial for this. He's large with a mustache.
Diabetes is its own...
Diabetes is number 6.
Yeah.
You got a problem with diabetes being number 6?
I have on my list here to say blood infection, but I don't think that's not diabetes.
You can go ahead and guess that if you're stupid.
I won't.
Okay.
Tell us about diabetes.
Number 6, just under 3% of deaths worldwide, 1.6 million deaths per year. 2 types of the disease. Do you know them?
1 and 2.
1 is an autoimmune condition.
Yeah, it's type 1 and type 2.
Yeah, I know. You're right. Brandon's right, everyone.
Fucking nailed it.
1 is an autoimmune condition, whilst the other is linked to poor lifestyle choices such as diet. That's type 2.
Yeah.
In both cases, the body has difficulty dealing with insulin, an agent that helps the body to absorb and process glucose.
Yeah, sugar.
The bad news is that this is a growing global epidemic. People in low to middle income countries are more likely to die from complications from diabetes. The good news on diabetes, as the number of diabetes-related deaths increases, pharmaceutical companies are working to develop better treatments to help patients to manage the disease. Where would we be without pharmaceutical companies, Brandon? They're our best friends.
Yeah, I'm probably not addicted to opiates.
They only help us. Risk factors for diabetes include excess body weight, big butt disease, high blood pressure, older age, Brandon.
Losing your limbs.
Not exercising regularly and an unhealthy diet. No, you lose your limbs because of diabetes.
Oh, yeah, it's not a risk factor.
No.
Let's see. Number 9. Give me a vague hint.
I'll read you some risk factors. Diabetes, HIV infection, a lower body weight, proximity to others with the disease, duh. Regular use of certain medications or drugs that suppress the immune system. This is caused by a bacteria. It's an airborne bacterium.
Okay, so it's not the flu.
We already got the flu.
MRSA?
No. Okay, it kills 1.3 million every year, 2.4% of deaths worldwide. The bad news is it's one of the top causes of death in people with HIV. About half of HIV-related deaths are due to this. The good news is that this has fallen about 1.5% every year since 2000. The goal is to end this disease by 2030. I'm just going to have to tell you at this point.
You are going to have to tell me. I don't know.
It's a lung condition caused by the bacteria called Mycobacterium tuberculosis.
It's tuberculosis.
Tuberculosis is number 9.
My cowboy in Red Dead Redemption 2 got tuberculosis.
We know. You mention it about every other episode.
Consumption.
Huh?
That's what they called it. Consumption.
Is that what it was called in the 1800s?
Yeah, lungers had consumption.
What is a lunger?
A lunger was someone who had consumption. Tuberculosis. Call them lungers because...
They cough a lot?
Because their lungs ain't working good.
Yeah.
And lungers had to move out to the dry desert air, like Val Kilmer in Tombstone. He had tuberculosis, and he moved out there on the doctor's recommendation. But then he was boozing and gunfighting.
Fucking pussy.
Doc Holliday was a bit of a pussy.
What? Wait, it wasn't... Was he Doc Holliday in that movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Huge pussy.
Wow, hot take on Doc Holliday. Apologies to all of our Doc Holliday enthusiasts out there. We know we got a lot of them. All right, so we did it. We did it. Top 10 leading causes of death in the world. This is as of 2016. Forgot to mention that earlier. Number 10 is road injury. Number 9 is tuberculosis. Number 8 is diarrhea.
Diarrhea till you die.
Number 7 is Alzheimer's and dementia. Number 6 is diabetes. Number 5 is trachea, bronchus, and lung cancers. Number 4 is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, such as emphysema. Number 3 is lower respiratory infections, such as bronchitis and pneumonia. Number 2 is stroke.
Stroke.
Number 1,
heart disease.
Heart disease, 16% of all deaths.
I did it.
Brandon, how would Dr. Phil categorize this top 10 list?
This is a mess of shit y'all need to avoid at all costs. Stay off the road, quit your breathing.
Quit your breathing?
Stop eating your sugars.
Fuck. Hey, since we're doing impersonations now,
fill in the blanks. Yeah. What now?
Do you remember when you were rolling your R's pronouncing words?
Stroke. Yeah. Burrito?
Fuck. I don't know why that slays me so much.
You can't do it.
I can't, no. I can't roll my R's.
Mi perro es pequeño. Means my dog is small.
God, our Spanish-speaking listeners love it. We're going to build a wall to keep you all out. So...
don't worry. It won't be finished now as of this recording. Shit's not looking so good.
But yeah, this has been the top 10 leading causes of death. We want to thank you for listening to us. And I forgot to mention it at the top, but this topic was chosen because it was death-related, and this is Spooktober. So Brandon, all of our episodes this week, all of our lists are going to have some loose to strong connection to spooky shit, like Halloween. Get it? Halloween is this month, so we got to do spooky shit. Do you get it?
Yeah,
okay.
Okay. So I'm on board. Okay. Spooky shit, I love it.
Next week, Brandon will bring some other spooky-esque list.
I'm writing it down. Spooky shit.
Yep. If you want to connect with us, you can, again, rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. That helps our show out. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at 10ishpod. You can also check out our website at 10ishpod.com. That's 10ishpod.com. You can listen to all of our past episodes there. You can buy a bunch of merch. You can find out info on our Patreon to get bonus episodes and more. What else do we want to plug? Don't eat bad food. Eat good food only.
Stay inside your house.
Stay inside and rest if you feel bad.
Go to the App Store and download Fill in the Blanks.
That's it. I'm Nick. He's Brandon. We'll see you next time.
Thanks. Bye.
We'd like to thank Kevin MacLeod for his song Hackbeat, which we found on incompetech.com for the official 10ish podcast theme.